Hi, this is Lacey from Bourbon House, and you're watching CMS TV.
And we are back. We're not started. We're mid-show already, if you can believe that. Dude, how cool was Jason to catch up with, man?
Super cool.
Yeah, he was good, man. I definitely enjoyed it. It's weird. I've never talked to him before. I don't know why. I guess maybe because I'm just not the biggest Saigon Kick guy, but
Right.
and maybe it's just because Saigon Kick really hasn't done much in like eons.
I knew the song, of course.
Yeah.
You know, they played the shit out of it
Yeah.
on the radio back then.
Good stuff, man. It's just good to see that there's so many guys that are out there still doing this and doing it at a high level. You know, there's a lot of guys that are still doing it, but they're not doing it at a high level. You know, Jason is definitely otherworldly as far as musical prowess and musicianship and creativity. He's, you know, and that's that if I had, and I should have said this to him, so many of the guys that he came up with, they're locked in the box. You know, they're trying to sound like their successful records instead of just doing the music that they do. I like when these guys like Jason do stuff that just they're doing whatever they want to do and they don't give a shit that it doesn't sound like their big hit.
I like everything I heard. I mean, the one video that you had included was like an acid trip or something. It was like they down-tuned his voice. I was started getting flashbacks. But then they played a sampler of the other songs. I was like, oh shit, this sounds really great. You know, which he mentioned, you know, having Non-Point on his label.
Yeah.
I used to like that band. I remember
I bought that band.
I bought that record in the early 2000s. I used to like to listen to it before I went on stage with Piercy.
Yeah.
And one of the roadies fucking stole it, and I was pissed.
No, I'm a huge fan of them, man. We actually the early back when I was doing Aftershocks TV, which eventually became Chris Aiken Presents. We had what's his name? The singer of Non-Point. We had him on twice, I think. Once, this was a funny one, dude. Once we asked him to do an interview. He said yes, and then he ended up doing like a sudden camping trip with his family. But he literally still did the interview. So I got to give him credit for that. You know, he literally he's out in the woods somewhere. And we get you know, we're doing the show live. We get the pop in. We see him sitting at a picnic table in front of a lake. And we're like, Elias, where the hell are you? And he's like, well, I'm out here in the mountains camping. And I was like, what? You know, I even told him, I said, you could have said no. And he's like, no, man, you guys are being cool enough to give me a space to talk about what we're doing. I'm going to do it. And he did it from his campground.
Wow, he must have a cool family because that sounds horrifying to me. That's scarier than like Friday the 13th being on a camping trip with my family.
Well, and not only that, can you imagine being with your girlfriend or your wife or whatever and saying, hold up, hon, I got to go do an interview for my job while you're on vacation? Wow, that has to come with some argument. That cannot just be like, okay, good, go ahead, honey. That's not how that works.
Zoinks.
Too funny, man. Well, dude, we're gonna have Jarvis Leatherby from the band Night Demon calling in a few minutes. I don't know. From what I gather, you're not super knowing of Night Demon at this point, correct?
Not. I've heard the name, of course, and I know they play a lot of festivals and cool stuff like that. You played me a little bit before the show, and it sounded amazing.
Well, they are just kick ass in the traditional heavy metal, Iron Maiden, UFO mold, I guess. Just traditional, straight up metal, not death metal, no cores, no genres. Just I don't think you could call them, you know, anything other than metal. And I've known Jarvis, you know, pretty much since he came out. This is their third or fourth album, I think fourth album if you can include the live record. And it's interesting, and we'll get into all of it because this is the first time from listening to it for me that I've really felt like they really kind of swerved a little bit or tried to, and not in a bad way, but they definitely took some
Evolve a little bit.
chances. Well, they took chances that they have not taken previously. Previously, it's been amps to 11 and go, you know, and seeing them live, you get that vibe too. Every time I've seen them live, it's definitely been amps are turned up. These guys hit the stage and they just play until it's the old fashioned show where everybody at the end of the show is soaking wet,
Right.
from just
As it
rocking
should be.
out for 90 minutes or 100 minutes or whatever it is. Great band. So I'm definitely looking forward to Jarvis checking in here in a few minutes. But until then, man, we've got 5-6 minutes. You obviously did a few shows out in California, hometown shows, I
Right.
guess,
And I
local
should
shows.
clarify because, when our guest was on earlier, I made a snide comment about Los Angeles. Really had
Right.
nothing to do with the venues we played because the 2 Canyon clubs that had that booked Steven were fantastic, and they were
Sure.
super nice to us and probably some of the friendliest staff I've ever worked with. The
Okay.
sound was great at both shows. So it had my gripe had nothing to do with those clubs.
Okay.
It was just a reminder once I was out there, it's just the schmucks that live up in Los Angeles. Like, I almost got run off the goddamn road, going from the venue to my hotel
Right.
after the first show. There's a lot of construction going on up on the 5 or the, 101, 134, all up there. There's always construction going on.
Sure.
But at night, what they do is after like 10 at night, they'll take the cones and the left lane will just all of a sudden disappear. It'll send you over to the right with cones. So, and it comes up pretty fast. I was in the left lane and I was going probably 70 miles an hour, and I saw that we had to get over the cones were starting to push me. Well, the guy behind me decides he's going to pass me on the right and basically shove me into these cones. Basically, which was so stupid of him. And in my mind, I was all hyped up and stuff from the show, and I'm kind of a road rager,
Sure.
I'll admit, and that's why I don't have weapons. That's why I don't carry a gun with me, because somebody like this, I would have totally shot him. I would have put the window down and just
Right.
So that's why I don't even take a firearm with me anywhere. But what I did do was drive like a maniac.
Right.
Like I got behind him. I got my flinging my brights. I'm like, and I just kept the horn going the whole time. Like, I'm a crazy guy. I'm chasing you. And when I finally did get alongside him, he looked like a baby boomer, like Clark Griswold guy. It was like not even a worthy adversary, if you will.
Right.
And it's always like that for me. Like, every time I think somebody did something because they were trying to kill me or they got a problem with me, that probably wasn't the case at all. Like, you just like a Asian lady was on the phone, or, some soccer mom, and you're thinking it's going to be some guy that you're going to like kick his ass, and it's never that person. So I mean, I should mellow out, but that one I did take personally because it was at like a high speed and it was like a dangerous situation where, I mean, if the guy was going to zip past me, that would have been one thing, but he went slow enough that it fucked me up and I had to slam on my brakes,
Right.
or I would have went right into the construction zone and got killed. You know what I mean? And this guy wouldn't have even known.
Because he was dicking around with this radio looking for that next James Taylor song or
He's
something.
a fucking Mr. Magoo, Oh, Mr. Magoo, you've done it again. He just like creates all his disasters and doesn't even know that it happened.
Do you think he purposely cut you off, or do you think he just wasn't paying no fucking attention? Now that
I think that, he was probably a boomer that went and had dinner somewhere and probably had a few drinks and didn't fucking know what the fuck he was doing. He was just, I don't think it was about me. I just think he just made a bad choice to like, he didn't realize that the cones were ending right there. Maybe he didn't have the visibility to know, but I was ready to kill that guy. I followed him for like a few exits.
Nice.
I was really mad about it, but I can't get like that. That's terrible. It's not.
I get like that sometimes. That's why I don't drive very much. That's why I don't go to stores, dude. I have not been in a store,
right,
in 8 years now.
And I'm
just
sorry to
more.
dominate here. I'm sorry, but
Go ahead.
you're making me have flashbacks to this terrible LA experience, and going to a store was one of the fucking problems that I had. The next morning, I thought we were at a pretty nice hotel.
Right.
And I was like, well, what's around here? You know, I want to get something to eat. I know they're going to feed us down the venue. I don't want to eat too much. Turns out there was a Ralph's near where we were in Glendale. And I go, okay, so I walk to this Ralph's. Now, I don't know if it's because I forgot where I was and I was wearing like a red flannel.
Okay.
And maybe they thought that I was a Trump person or something, perhaps. I'm just, trying to understand where this attitude came from. But I go into this Ralph's. I'm just kind of perusing, and it's kind of like a stripped down Ralph's. It was more like a bodega style Ralph's.
Right.
But I saw on the other side that they had a bakery section, and I'm like, well, I'll go get, some chicken or something and some kind of deal over in that area. And so I walk over there, and there's a woman working behind there, and she's pulling some chickens off the rotisserie that look pretty damn good. And right away, as I walk up, she kind of womansplains to me the situation. It's like right now, it's like 10:58 in the morning. And right away she goes, the sides aren't ready yet, so you're gonna have to come back some other time because, and just starts one of those moves. And I was like, okay, well, I didn't even say what I wanted yet, but okay, it's 11:58. It can wait 2 minutes. I go, no, it's all good. I'm just looking at your menu. And they had this like annoying menu thing up above. It had one kind of menu, but the other one flashed. It flashed to a special they have, which was like an $8 meal deal.
Right.
And I was trying to read it, but it would like only stay on that screen for like 1 second.
Right.
So I'd have to wait another minute for it to then cycle through and then go to that thing. I was, oh, what does it say? And I would try to see, okay, they had like a dark meat, a white meat, a fried chicken one.
Right.
And, as far as the deli there, I mean, they had all kinds of fucking potato salad and everything you could imagine going all the way down. I saw that she had other sides she was going to be bringing out, like shit I didn't care about, like corn and fucking whatever. But as I'm waiting, some other guy comes up and he stands there and she's really nice to that guy. She goes, oh, hi, sir. What can I help you with? Walks right there like I'm chopped livered, like even though she yelled at me before. And I had told her, oh, I'm just looking at the menu. It's okay. I'm just seeing what I want. But it goes over, helps him. He orders some shit. Then she goes back to doing her thing. It's now like 11:05. And she goes, okay, what can I do for you? And I go, okay, well, I'd like one of those $8 meal deals. She goes, we don't have the sides yet. They're not up. And she starts yelling. And I'm just thinking, why the fuck did you even ask me what I wanted or start this up again?
Right.
And who the fuck do you think you're talking to?
Right.
You know what I mean? Your job ain't that goddamn hard. My first job was at Chick's Natural in Encinitas doing those same rotisserie chickens in the thing.
Sure.
I was 15 years old, bitch.
She just thinks
you're 60.
Dude, she's looking at you and seeing dirty rock star guy, and she just doesn't want to deal with you.
I don't know what her fucking problem is. I had a hat on it was the same hat, really. I mean, I actually looked kind of like I do right now, except I had a red flannel. I had a red flannel, but so she was a total asshole. And I like kind of let her know too. Cause know, if you think you're going to fucking dominate me somewhere, I have no problem making a scene
there you go.
Anywhere. I'm an entertainer.
Yeah. You have no problem making noise. Well,
yeah, no, I live for that shit.
Hell yeah. Well, I'll tell you who else has no problem making noise. The mighty Jarvis Leatherby of the band Night Demon. He is waiting in the wings. All right, so why don't we do this, dude? We're going to play one quick spot, play a little bit of Night Demon music, and we will be back with Jarvis Leatherby of the band Night Demon. Right after this, it is Chris Akin Presents.